You were listening to episode 96 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we managed to get sand in our shoes while wall running in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we played Prince of Persia: Sands of Time on the PlayStation 2. I had a good time with that, Ryan. It's definitely, I had never played it before, actually, and
it's amazing. It really holds up in a bunch of ways.
For sure. I mean, we'll get more into that a little later. In addition, on this episode, we will be talking about a few different things, specifically remakes. So the first one is going to be here to games getting next-gen upgrades on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. That one's going to be by the Next Web. And then we are also going to talk about Prince of Persia actually getting a remake announcement planned soon by Ubisoft in the near future. And Nintendo surprises us with reveals remasters, a battle royale, and a new Mario Kart in limited releases. So when I say reveals, it's because we already knew this was happening for a long time on Mario. So, all right, man. As always, let's get into our recent pickups. Ryan, you got nothing, right?
Well, sort of. I am leaving your house today with a copy of Ghost of Tsushima, so yeah. I'm not picking up nothing.
So I'll get into that here in a little bit on my end. We'll do you're currently playing first because I feel like I'm going to take a while on my full-blown review of Ghost of Tsushima. And dude, I've already forgotten half the character names. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I have this terrible thing, so anybody that's listened before.
Well, you play through a game and you're all into it while you play it, but as soon as it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, I remember the main character's name, Jin, and that's... Yeah, and then
there's only
Sakai.
So much room in your brain for those standout characters from games.
Yeah, so I've got Jin, I've got Lord Shimura, Kenji, because he's super familiar to me, and then that's kind of, and Taka, who is in the game as well. So yeah, Kuten Khan, I guess is technically what it is. Dude, I'm with games, it's the worst. I'm horrible at this, and you're right. You play a game and you're done, but I know so many people that they'll sit there and hey, yeah, I remember this main character of X game from when I played it 15 years ago. I'm how do you do that?
Yeah.
I can't. Okay. So my pickups, I got Wizardry on the PlayStation 2. So this was pretty cool. eBay, because of their 25-year anniversary, and I guess people that have been on there long enough, sent out $25 gift certificates for anything. I was like, okay, that's kind of random. So Wizardry was sitting at $42 or something like that, and it's an RPG on the PS2, which I didn't have. So yeah, went ahead and
$25 off.
$25 off. Why not? So I got a nice complete in box copy coming in the mail here pretty soon. The other thing I picked up, so my computer is screwing up. We've got motherboard issues and it says CPU heating errors and everything else going down the road. This computer's 8 years old at this point anyway, so I would not be surprised if it's on its last leg. So I've been putting money towards a whole bunch of new stuff. And we've got a gaming PC coming in the near future, along with the ability to render video for us or anything we want in audio pretty quickly down the road.
We're getting an upgrade.
So I'm going to be waiting for the new NVIDIA GPU. I think it's the 3070 and 3080. I'm not going to 3080 route because it's $700 MSRP is what they're touting for that. So I'll go for the 3070, which is going to still be good. It's going to hold me off for a number of years. Should be relatively strong and, get me that gaming experience I want on PC so I can play xCloud. World. Yeah, a whole new world, right? So I'm going to be getting that, but I've put down for a great new motherboard. I've put probably $800 into overall stuff here so far before the GPU comes in. Now, mind you, I've already had an SSD and hard drives and everything else already kind of in place. So I should be pretty good on that front moving forward. And as dumb as it sounds, I'll be getting 32 gigs of RAM because we all need a lot of RAM whenever we're rendering video.
It's a lot of RAM.
Yeah, they say recommended 16 and you'll be fine. You won't go past that. But with video rendering, I've been told that 32 is going to be amazing.
Okay.
It should go super fast and, I'm getting an i7 processor now by AMD, so I'm super stoked on that. Or not i7, sorry, AMD Ryzen 7 processor. So yeah, it's exciting times, man. I'm totally stoked, and all the other podcasts we listen to that have have computer guys on those podcasts. I've been reaching out to like Church over at Game Tenets and Mr. Green Elite over at Next to Nothing podcast and Patrick over at the Sega Saturn Shiro podcast, just kind of sharing the parts and just kind of getting everybody's opinion on what's what. And
it's always good to have some hardcore tech people around. Like, I'm so bad at computers, so all my friends love when I give them calls about the weird stuff that I run into.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. So I have to tell you before we get into your currently playing. So Church shared with me that he built a computer for somebody a while back. I think he said like 6 or 7 years ago. And it was a stripper computer. Like he literally took a tower, okay, or his case, and he cut it out and he put like an emblem of a stripper on it. And then on the front, it had a stripper. And on the other side, it had some sort of logo for strippers. And he painted the entire thing like hot pink and gold with automotive paint. And then gave it to the guy. The guy wanted a stripper themed tower.
Wow.
So he made him a stripper themed tower. And dude,
you should have him make you a tower.
I don't know if I want a stripper themed tower, but I don't know. I should have Church make me a tower.
Yeah.
That thing looked hilarious, dude. He was like, it's one of my crowning achievements. And he had
I'll have to see that.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture a little later. That was absolutely hilarious. So Church, thanks for sharing that with me. It was awesome. And of course, go check out the Game Tenets as well. Okay, man. So let's get into your currently playing. I see some Dark Souls 3 here.
Yes, yes. I've been playing more Dark Souls 3. I got to Aldrich, and I tried him a couple times. And man, my pyromancies are like wrecking him. Like I can do like a good chunk of his health. And I think I just need to sit down and do the fight. I was like, it was right at the end of my play session. So, I'll get through it.
How are you liking it so far?
I mean, I'm really liking it. I'm kind of at the point now where I think I'm in like the 70s or something level wise. So I've got like most of my base attributes all filled out to the point of where they need to be. And I'm just dumping the rest into trying to get more powerful pyromancies. Because I'm probably not going to hit the level cap, I don't think.
I don't know. Is there a level cap?
I think most of the builds I've seen, I think they only go up to like 120. Because anything after that, all your peak attributes aren't getting the maximum return.
Oh, I see.
Because you hit those soft level caps at, I think, 40 for the stats, where your return isn't as good. So, like, your core build.
I gotcha. Yeah, because okay, so the maximum soul level, by the way, is 802 with all stats capped.
Yeah.
So, but it says with all stats capping at 99 is what it said.
Well, there's like a soft cap where it's like your souls don't buy you as much improvement anymore.
Yeah.
So your return on investment goes down. So I've got most of that sorted out. I've been playing with an axe since the beginning. Like I started with an axe and then I found an axe and just replaced it and have been upgrading that same. So I've only had the one weapon type the whole game, and I'm kind of starting to think maybe I want to try something else, which is basically what I did in Bloodborne. Like I used the whip cane the whole game, and then like towards the end I was like, maybe I should try something else, because it's like probably not going to come back to this game anytime soon.
Opens up to a whole new world.
Yeah, but the problem with that is then I need to go and rack up like my next like 7 or 8 levels and dump them into like either dex or strength or some combination of one or the other in order to get to a point. And I know that I'll have other benefits from that. Like even if I stay with the axe, like I'll get a little bit better at a few things, but it's just like at this point, like getting that many souls in the area I'm in isn't too bad, but I just don't want to do the Dark Souls grind. And last time I kind of lost interest in the game for like a week or two was at that point where I had to do like the Dark Souls grind. So it's just a matter of pushing through, but I'm going to take a break and play some Ghost of Tsushima anyways. But I'll hang on to it, and I'll probably come back to it later.
I think you need to beat Bloodborne. I think you really need to get in and finish that game.
I'll beat Bloodborne eventually. Actually, what I really need to do is start playing Persona again.
I was actually about
There's only
to say,
3 months left, people. 3 months left for me to beat Persona.
You may not want to take Ghost of Tsushima. Just FYI.
I'll be fine.
All right.
I'll be fine. Like I said, I'm probably going to have a week off at the end of the year.
Well,
I'll be playing it like all day on the 27th and 28th of December, just like 12-hour marathon sessions.
Your wife's going to come up to you and be like, still playing, huh? And you're just going to be like rotting on the couch.
It's crazy to think that even if I got to the point where I had like 20 hours left of the game, I still need to get through like 30 hours before that last 20.
Yeah, you got to start blazing through that, man. That's those RPGs take a while. I think I pumped in. It took me about a month to beat Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But that's because I platinumed
Yeah,
it too.
let's be honest. I'm not going to beat Ghost of Tsushima, probably.
I mean, if you do main story, you might be okay. Like, it took me a month, but that's because I platinumed it.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, there's people out there that platinumed it way before me, but those people also probably put in, like, 6-7 hours a day to play this game. I'm putting in, like, 2 hours, a night occasionally to beat it. So I think I put in maybe 50 hours into the game total, and I had a blast. But yeah, dude, you got to get on that Persona. Like, I've been considering doing another challenge for the year.
With the last 3 months left?
Yeah, why not? So we'll see.
There's a bunch of short games out there.
Yeah, there are a bunch of short games. So, am I currently playing Plague Tale? So after I beat Ghost of Tsushima, my next thing was like, all right, well, let me try Agony on the PS4. And I put that down after 20 minutes. That was just clunky. I mean, like, visually, it doesn't look too bad.
Isn't that the one you were excited for?
Yeah, I was, like, super excited for this a long time ago, but it was super clunky. Like, the frame rates just weren't that great. Like, I could tell that there were frame rate issues. The audio was okay. Visually, while it's, like, a good-looking game, technically, like, graphically, it was lacking in terms of, like, coloration, in a sense. Like, everything just, at least in what I played, just kind of melted together.
It's just real samey.
Yeah, it's just really, so it's really difficult. And then, like, picking up items, it's just like it's difficult to, like, separate what's something that's like that you can pick up versus something that is not something you can pick up. So that was just difficult, and I started getting a headache, in all honesty, like, playing through that. So I put that one down, and then I was like, all right, my next one I wanted to play was Plague Tale. So Plague Tale is a pretty short game. You play as I think her name is Sina. I forget her first name. I had it on my mind, but then you have her brother Hugo. I've literally played like 30-40 minutes to an hour, but you are pretty much running away from these soldiers that have come through to, like, take your brother. And so right now it's more of like this stealthy type of avoid things, make distractions.
I think that's the whole game.
Yeah, so that's what we got so far, and no battling, of course, because you just have, like, this young girl and her brother. But yeah, like, so far I'm liking it. It's an overall, like, cool type of atmosphere. I mean, you're in this small little town, I guess, as a
dark
lord.
and moody.
Yeah, like, it's really cool. But it's basically like your family is like a family of lords or something, I guess, in France, and they come to take your brother, and you're now escaping at this point. So I haven't gotten into the whole, like, plague rats or anything like that, but I did see a dog get sucked into the ground in the forest, so that was interesting. So I'm doing that, and then I'm still playing Cameo with my wife on the 360.
What's your favorite form?
So
I think the rock one was the one I liked.
I like the plant one the most so far, because he's just, like, super quick. You can do jabs back and forth and then uppercut. It's just a nice form. But I mean, with this game, if anybody's played it or not played it, you pretty much have to kind of combo things, right? So there's certain enemies where you have to use a rock guy first to go ahead and knock him back. Like, you have these big shields in front of certain trolls. And so by throwing rocks behind them when they come back to your rock guy, it hits them behind the shield, and you have to quickly combo off by bringing out the plant guy to go ahead and bash them. And I don't know the names of the forms. Like I said, I'm bad at these things.
Am I wrong that Cameo is somehow related to Skylanders?
It feels like it. I don't think it's...
I never played Skylanders, but the visual of it.
Skylanders is Spyro, essentially.
Oh,
it's
that's
a Spyro-type world, but Cameo does have that feeling. Like, I could totally see this being a Skylanders type of game. Now, I mean, there might be some sort of correlation there. I mean, you're kind of putting me on the fly here, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But...
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But overall, we're enjoying it. It's pretty good graphically. I'm playing it on that HD that you put in the room a while back for our games. And yeah, I'm liking it. And then, of course, Ghost of Tsushima. So I guess we can do a quick and dirty full review here. I still think 10 out of 10 on this game. It was phenomenal. The graphics were great. I didn't see any, like, crazy bugs. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I didn't catch any bugs throughout the game. Visually stunning. Story-wise, it was good. The ending did kind of hit me in that it wasn't all that I wanted in the ending. Like, I got it. Like, I understood what happened, but it just felt like it cut. And that was it. Like, you were done. So you kind of capped off all these people's stories and those tales I told you about. So you had the first sensei of the bow, or so you had him, and you did his story, and it was a pretty cool ending. You're like, wow, that was like a great tale. Like it kind of all capped out. The thief, I forget her name as well. So we had her story, and it was pretty good. Kenji had his own story, which is really cool. He's a sake guy. And then you had Jin's tale, of course, being the main one. And it was just like the way that this game played out, it was great, because every like individual tale of Tsushima that you had to go through was good. Like they all kind of meshed in correctly, and it worked. The duels that you had to do throughout the game were phenomenal. Like I truly enjoyed it. Where I saw the repetition components of this were when you had to pick up certain items, of course. Like, oh, you want to, get all of the hot springs. Well, you got to search for hot springs. Oh, you want all of the shrines for the foxes. You got to find the fox shrines. Like, and there wasn't anything like super different about those. It was just kind of the same thing every time. And I got it, but it was like, could we have accomplished that with less of that? Like, did we need 16 haikus? Did we need 18 hot springs?
It's just that creep that we've gotten over the last gen of open worlds with so many of the same things to do. And this was definitely not the same Far Cry Assassin's Creed format.
Yeah, it was definitely
it's
different.
basically the same kind of plan.
Yeah, and so like that, I get it, and like I understand why it's in the game, but I don't know if it's, and that's kind of been my thing on open world games recently anyways, like, do I really need to do all of these same things all the time? And that's to get a platinum, of course. Like, if you weren't, then yeah, you don't have to do all of the springs and do all of the individual tales, but for the most part, all of the individual side quest tales were not bad. They were actually pretty good and interesting, and they each had their own story component to it that kind of got you invested with it. Like, you'd want to learn more about that. So I did enjoy those tales going through around Tsushima, and the main tales, of course, were pretty sweet too. So that was all good. The fighting was phenomenal. And then, of course, my favorite was when you would have like the commanders of the Mongol army, and whenever you went to their camps, you'd be above them, and I forget the word that it had underneath. I just never caught it, but instead of saying like critical damage or assassinate, it had like decapitate or something. I don't remember the exact term, but you would go down and you would literally like stab the guy in the back, pull out your sword, and slice off the head in slow motion. It was awesome.
Fatality.
And then, so that was cool. And then you had the ghost mode, which was also pretty sweet, where you would just, everything goes red and you get 3 shots and everybody's like flipping out and scared. And so, of course, you're just like one shot kill all 3 of them. So that piece, and then there were certain things like if you upgraded certain types of armor, you got certain types of abilities. So you have face-offs in the game where at first you
Did
can
you
just...
get the Sly Cooper set?
I did find a Sly Cooper set. That was a pain. And having to combo it together was weird, but I still got it. I mean, I had to. So with the face-offs, it's cool because you can go from like 1 face-off to killing, I think, 3 people in a face-off to going as high as 5 killing in a face-off. That was a pretty difficult trophy to begin with, just because you have to time it, and in certain areas, like, they'll fake you out and you strike too early, or the camera angle comes in weird and you just don't see the sword coming down in time from another Mongol. So yeah, there was little things like that, but end of the day, phenomenal story, phenomenal graphics, phenomenal gameplay. It was everything I would have hoped for in this game. I'm so happy that I got a collector's edition version of it with my mask. And if you haven't picked this game up yet, 100% you should pick it up, even if you don't go through and platinum the entire thing and try to do every single facet of the game. You're still going to enjoy yourself with a super robust storyline and a lot of different side quests to tie into. Like, you'll get the full experience even if you don't try to go for the full experience.
Yeah.
So that is my review of Tsushima in a nutshell. Definitely a must buy. Okay, so Ryan, I tried this last time, and before we get into our articles, let's do a little trivia here.
All right, bring it on, John.
All right,
I'm
so
1 for 1.
We're going to be talking about some Mario, right? So how old is Mario?
35 years.
He is not. He is not 35 years old, Ryan. That's a 35-year anniversary. So according to various sources of Wikipedia, Mario, according to Nintendo back in 2017, was 26 years old. A wiki shows 45 years old for some strange ass reason, but the last thing I saw on Google...
you're asking like how old Mario is. What's
Brian,
his age?
You got it wrong. I said how old. That's his age.
Oh my god. Trick question. I call foul.
That is not a foul. Not a foul. His first appearance was what, 1981?
I would not have known that he was supposed to be 26. I knew that like he's not as old as you would assume he is.
Okay, here's another one for you. How tall is he?
Oh, he's...
I'm going to have to go back to wiki on this.
I want to say he's like 5'3".
You got one of those threes
or
right.
5'2".
So what I was seeing, I think it was 3'3" is what they listed him as.
No, he's not.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look this one up for you, man.
No.
How
I've
tall?
seen enough game theory out there where Matt Pats measured people and compared them and stuff. Mario's like a short dude, but he's like a real people-sized dude.
I don't know, man. The people of Reddit here are saying that Mario is 3 foot 8 inches. And Luigi is a little taller than him, of course, at, let's see, 5 more inches. So Luigi is about 5'4'1". That's what they have Luigi at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring some trivia next week. We'll see who knows numbers.
Right. Hey, get this. Peach is taller than both at 4'4". They're a pretty small group, according to Reddit. So that was a quick Google, folks. Okay, well, Ryan, you were wrong on this week's trivia, so hit me up next week on trivia, and we'll see if you get it right. And, of course, if you knew the trivia question, or if you just want to bash us on how old Mario is based on your sources.
Mario Cannon height, he's 5'1".
Mario Cannon? Okay, well, Reddit says 3 foot 8. I'm going to go with Reddit. Okay. So if you want to bash us, of course, Ryan interrupting my little promo session here, you can find us at thegamedeflators.com, social media, at thegamedeflators.
Let us know
on Instagram
how tall
and
you think Mario is.
On Facebook and Twitter. No, Facebook and Instagram. See, you messed me up, Ryan. We had it. At Game Deflators on Twitter. And then, of course, you can find us on all of those wonderful podcast applications out there. Podcast Addict, Podbean, iTunes, Apple Podcast, Overcast, and anywhere podcasts are found. And, of course, leave us a 5-star review. If you have the opportunity, leave 2 5-star reviews, or an 11 if you can.
I think we're getting greedy. I think 6 was enough to ask for.
Well, I mean, 2 5 stars... and then adding that extra 1, we get 11. I mean, come on. I'm trying to quote some Spinal Tap here, right?
Yeah.
Look, we need reviews, people. Just get us reviews. Good reviews, though. Okay. Our first article here. Here are the games getting next-gen upgrades on PS5 and Xbox Series X. This is by Rachel Kaser at The Next Web. So, Ryan, I'll let you kick this one off while I open up the article.
So it's a good, healthy list here. There's a whole bunch of games on this list. I'm really happy to see a bunch of free games getting upgrades, or maybe not free games, but games getting free upgrades, I'll say, because this is really like, some people are gonna put the screws to it. Like, screw Rockstar. Rockstar is re-releasing GTA 5 for this, and like, they're gonna charge you again for the third release of this. Like, I guess that they're going to be putting out GTA Online separately as its own thing. Hopefully that'll get a free upgrade, but it doesn't really point to either of those in the article. But there's a lot of good stuff in here. The top of the article is Witcher 3. I've never played Witcher 3. I love the Witcher series, and I think that the Witcher 3 game is something I'm going to love when I play it eventually. So to know that I'll be able to do that in next gen for the price of, you know, whatever a used copy goes for, that's kind of the real advantage here, is getting one of the disc-based versions does hold that possibility that you could have, you know, the same marketplace that we have now, but now you're going to be able to, you know, really get a lot more out of those older used titles. So I'll really be interested to see how this will kind of change the market moving forward when we get to see remakes or, you know, retouches on stuff and actually get more out of it for the same old price.
Yeah, I totally feel in that, man. So my whole thing with this, with the remakes and everything, with it being like a lot of last generation games that are getting remade, or not remade, but, you know, upgrades in a sense, is, you know, unless this was already kind of built out, like unless they were actively working on this for a while and this is more of just formally releasing it, I get kind of annoyed with these type of things. Like, put the effort towards other games that you're working on, or put it towards new remakes. So I do like the idea of, like, say, Control and Doom here, or Doom Eternal. I really have been wanting to play Doom Eternal, so seeing it get like that next gen type of upgrade is awesome because I haven't played it yet. But as somebody that has played, Ghost of Tsushima, for example, which I highly suspect will get an upgrade next gen. I think they've talked about it. That's kind of annoying, right? Like, I bought it on PS4, now you're going to upgrade it. Like, can Sucker Punch not work on other things during that time period?
I mean, it makes sense for some of these titles that are coming out this year. Like, if it's only going to take them, a reasonable amount of time, and they can do that good job, and anybody that wasn't able to experience the first time can really experience it with those enhancements, kind of like what I'll do with The Witcher 3, kind of.
Yeah.
So, or this, they reference a game in here, Observer, which is kind of something that, I don't know, he doesn't say cult classic, but it kind of reads that way. Like, he really liked it. It came out in 2017, kind of under the radar, and now it's going to get that same treatment. So that's cool. But a lot of these in the article that are really great are the co-op games. Like, you're getting things like...
Well, yeah, like Rachel mentions on here, like Rainbow Six Siege and Destiny 2. So those are some good ones right there.
Elder Scrolls Online, Overcooked, Dead by Daylight.
No, she did mention on here, she's like, I hope to God there's not like another Skyrim remake. Because like GTA, man, it's been PS3, PS4, now PS5. Like, if we see Amazon Echo, Microwave, like, if we see Skyrim again before the new Elder Scrolls comes out, like, come on.
Yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't happen because, it can hold back some studios, but it's important, like...
I mean, I doubt it's going to hold back somebody like, Bethesda to do this because...
They just get another team on it.
Yeah, like, they're a relatively large company, so it would make sense. But when you have smaller teams, it's like, why are you focusing efforts on these upgrades or ports from previous generations? Like, work on new stuff. And I think consumers want new stuff as well. I mean... Do we want this? Does the world really need another version of Skyrim? Does the world really need another GTA 5?
And they won't be any different. It's the difference between like the Crash remakes and the Spyro remakes. Like, the fact that those are like a whole new project breathing new life into something old. Like, that's a remake worth paying for. But this is just a prettier version of Skyrim that people have been able to mod into existence on the PC for years. Like, definitely not worth paying $30 for, $40 for again.
Well, and it'll put 60 or 70 on that. I think 70 is going to be the new benchmark price
point. I would
hope
they wouldn't charge full price.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's Bethesda. I wouldn't put it past them to say $70 and you're going to get, a really crappy tote bag or plastic axe. Like, that's just what I could see them doing. So, overall, man, like, and I'm not shitting on the idea of, like, upgrades necessarily. Like, there are people like you and myself who haven't played, say, The Witcher 3 or Doom Eternal, and we... next generation, it would make sense for us to be like, all right, cool, like, let's get that version instead. But at the same time, it is kind of frustrating for people that have picked these games up, to see the same crap come out upgraded the next year. That's kind of where PC is kind of calling me, man. Like, while there are upgrades, I mean, there are mods out there. There's abilities to get, those games in a greater scale at no cost.
Well, it might be too much to ask, but it's a good start that so many developers are doing free upgrades. So let's just hope that keeps trending.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and look at our next article here. A Prince of Persia remake announcement is planned for Ubisoft moving forward, journalist claims. So it's not 100%, but Tom Ivan of Video Game Chronicle went ahead and wrote this one up. And so we just went ahead and played Sands of Time, and I truly enjoyed that. And immediately, while playing it, I was like, dude, like, I gotta keep playing this. So it's either play what was out on the PS3, I think, or wait for this. And while nothing official has necessarily come out about this, I think it'll happen. I mean, why not? Like, people are getting that kind of fatigue over Assassin's Creed. Why not bring one of your big, heavy hitters back into the mix? And seeing how that game looked on the PS2, holy crap, would that look amazing next generation or this upcoming generation? So, what are your thoughts overall on this, man? With this rumor or kind of semi-confirmation?
Well, no, it says that Prince of Persia remake that was leaked a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything could be leaked. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I mean, we could see.
We gotta.
I mean, look at back at Final Fantasy VII. Okay, when they had like the initial and Final Fantasy VIII, there were leaked images of HD upgrades years ago. Nothing happened until PS4. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking back PS3 era or PS2
Well, those were
era.
tech. That was a tech demo.
Yeah, I understand. So what if this was a tech demo that was leaked? You know, like it just says leaked. So it could be anything. That's why rumored.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm super stoked for this. I think that going back and replaying some of that game today was awesome. I think that it's definitely prime time that Assassin's Creed gets some time to sit down and take a break. I think it's time for Far Cry to sit down and take a break. Like, if you're gonna say that, you know, we give our franchises time to breathe, maybe, you know, after the
20th game.
yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy, maybe they need to take a break too, but, you know, it is
They
important.
just took a break. Don't let them take another break.
It is important to be able to leave some games on the sidelines and let them mature. And I think that when, you know, Prince of Persia series was kind of winding down and people started to, you know, get some series fatigue from that, now's the great time to bring it back because it has had that room. So hopefully they can, you know, take all this stuff that has come from it. Like, you know, Assassin's Creed came from it. The Arkham series kind of came from it. Like, there's been so many advancements that they really have an opportunity to make this like something really special. And I can't wait to see them hopefully not drop the ball super hard because, like, it could be so good.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, man, playing that today.
And it'll look gorgeous no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. Like playing that today, I just looked at it, I'm like, wow, this is actually graphically a pretty good game on the PS2. Like, it did have those shadows and such. I even commented on, like, some of the flames had, like, the heat that you could see off them. Like, it's a flipping PS2 game. Like, imagine
it really
this.
brings me back. That's peak PS2.
Yeah, like, imagine this in a next-gen type of situation. So, I would be all for it, man. Like, this game, having never played it, truly enjoyed it that much during the time that we played. I'm like, I need a remake of this, like, right away. So, I'm all for it, dude. And if this ends up being true and we get an announcement here pretty soon, I think people are going to be pretty stoked about this. And it did actually, you know, before we get into our next article, it does kind of make me think about, like, what games would you want to see, or is there one specific franchise that you would want to see come back onto, like, the PS5, Xbox Series X?
Oh, man. Yeah, there definitely is. I'm trying to think about what it would be, though.
So mine that immediately kind of strikes me is a full-blown remake of the original Silent Hills of 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think that in itself would be an amazing series to remake. I mean, there has been discussions over rebooting recently, so it'd be nice to see that kind of come to fruition and us get, like, that full-blown horror experience that we had on the PS1 and PS2, but reimagined in, like, VR and, like, that next generation.
You know, I've never played these games, but I was always interested in the Dino Crisis franchise. Like,
I should play that next time.
Well, there's just been, like, I'm trying to think of games that have, like, big dinosaurs, and it's kind of, like, gone the way of, like, Monster Hunter and, like, maybe some RPG enemies and stuff. But, like, to be, like, a person running around with a gun shooting at dinosaurs, like, that's some old school game. That's like some Lara Croft, Turok kind of stuff. So some return of that kind of setting would be really interesting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I actually, I'm kind of curious if I have Dino Crisis, because that might be one that we could play next week. I want to say I have it on the PlayStation 1, and I do. And it says I have Dino Crisis 3 somewhere, too. So I need Dino Crisis 2. So anybody out there that has a complete in-box Dino Crisis 2, let me know. But yeah, you want to do Dino Crisis next week?
Sure, we can do that.
Cool. All right, our last article here is going to be... What?
This is a big one. I got a lot to say about this one.
Yeah, I'll let you go first then. Nintendo... What happened to my formatting
Nintendo
here?
surprise reveals remasters of Battle Royale, new Mario Kart, and limited releases.
And this is by Mikhail Kilmentov.
At Washington Post.
Yeah.
So... lots of Nintendo stuff. More Mario 35th anniversary, even though he's only 26. Good stuff, man. The first thing that I thought, like, after I watched all of these, like, I loved all of these announcements. All of these announcements were fantastic, but they're not all for me right now. But any one of these is perfect for me at some other time. If I was in some other position or some other age, each one of these things would be like the coolest announcement in this trailer. And that's kind of like the peak Nintendo. Peak Nintendo is when you've got something that appeals to everyone on different levels. Everybody gets a taste. So I love that about it. But I just got so many problems with this stupid time window. So we'll go kind of through what they actually have in this, and then we'll talk about that time window. So for the 35th anniversary, we are getting a Mario 3D All-Stars game with Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy 1 in a physical and digital release.
Until March 31st.
We'll get to that. That is awesome. That's so cool. Like, those are all games that I would love to be able to have on my Switch and play. Definitely going to pick this up. And I definitely advise every one of you out there, pick up 2 copies, because you're definitely going to get your money back on this at some point.
Might as well. Yeah, I mean, I've been considering picking up several copies as well, just to, after March.
Yeah. Next up, my favorite announcement. I am not a big Tetris person.
Well, hold on, really quick though. I don't see it mentioned on here. They're also going to be doing Mario 3D Land popped on there with
we're gonna go through everything
section
in here. That's just what I wrote.
Oh, okay. All right. Go on, Ryan. Continue. Ignore me.
I did not get into Tetris 99, but I really thought that was a cool format. So now they're doing Mario 35. It's going to be a battle royale where you have 35 people playing Mario at the same time. And like, as you kill enemies and go through the levels, you're throwing enemies and stuff into other people's games, and it's getting screwy, and you try to get through it. That sounds like a ton of fun. I'm super excited for that. They also had a really crazy Mario Kart RC toy. And it's not the first time I've ever seen Mario Kart RC toy, but you play it with your Switch. It gives you like a first person camera where you're like looking over Mario's head and you're racing around your living room, but you can see like shooting shells out, and you've got to drive through these like goalposts and pick up item boxes and stuff. Like, it looks like, depending on how the track design works and how much room you have in your house, it seems like you could do some really fun stuff with this. Like, obviously power sliding's going to be out the window. You know, there's going to be some certain things that you won't be able to do. It won't be true Mario Kart, but like, other than those people that have like the crazy go-kart setups behind their mansion, this is like as fun as real world Mario Kart's going to get.
Oh, you want my comments on that?
You can comment on that.
Okay, so I think the Mario Kart circuit thing that they're doing for the living room is quite possibly one of the dumbest ideas, to be honest. Like, it's cool, I get it, but who has room for that? Like, in all honesty, like, you have to have a certain floor type. So if you got carpet, so if you don't live in an apartment, odds are you got carpet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not for everybody.
I know, but it's just like, it's so ridiculous. Like, they're not truly thinking about their consumer base here. Like, not everybody's going to have the ability to play that. So,
well, yeah, but there's RC cars out there.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, look.
There's a market for people that like RC cars.
Picture this as if you're a 10-year-old kid and you see this and you're like, I really want that RC car. And then you live in an apartment or a small, like, 2-bedroom apartment, and you don't have the ability to set up this track. Like, you're not going to have fun with that, man. Like, that to me is preying on the fact that it's Mario. Like, Nintendo has seriously become one of the most predatory companies that I've ever seen. Like, just right behind, like, Bethesda and Ubisoft and EA. They're, like, so predatory with their practices. I mean, come on. Limited release after March 31st.
We're going to get to that.
Like, no, like, go on. It makes me angry. I hate Nintendo, but I still love them.
So they also announced that Super Mario All-Stars, which includes the Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3 will be available on Switch. And Super Mario 3D World, which came out for Wii U, will also be coming out to the Switch on February 12th, along with a new expansion, which is either Bowser's Furry or Bowser's Fury. I'm not sure.
Bowser's Fury is definitely not furry.
It's got all the cat stuff in it.
I think it's Bowser's Fury.
Okay, there's a bunch of cat stuff in it. This is the logo that has the cat tail coming off of it.
Unless Bowser becomes a cat, which would be interesting.
I think it's going to have Cat Bowser.
If it has Cat Bowser, that'd be pretty awesome.
So, what was the last announcement? Oh, yeah. The Super Mario Game & Watch is going to come out, which looks like the old school red and gold Game & Watch.
I do want that.
It's going to be loaded with some Mario games and even have like a Mario remake of Ball. It has like a color clock that you can have on all the time. That looks super cool. Again, not something for me right now, but something I absolutely love the idea of. And now, John, we can get to the bad part.
You start first because I'm finishing up my pre-order of Mario 3D All-Stars.
Okay. So the bad part. This stuff mostly all comes out on October 1st, I believe. And it all stops selling on March 31st. As of March 31st, you will no longer be able to buy physical or digital editions of these games. And in fact, the Mario 35 game will be taken off the store and you will not be able to play it anymore. They're just going to basically shut it off.
It's so dumb.
And they have not said why, other than the fact that they're Nintendo and they're making, their own scarcity. Like, it is really, like John said, abusive and terrible and stupid, and I hate it, and it makes it, like, even harder to choke down how cool all of these announcements are, that that you're just going to get absolutely screwed on it.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm seriously like in there and I forgot my credit card CVC code.
Okay, well, you could do that after.
Well, Ryan, I mean, we're talking about Mario. I have to tell the people that I've purchased Mario as a recent pickup for this week. It has to happen. Yeah, dude. So I'm right there with you, man. Like, this is super predatory practices. Of course, you're going to have the Christmas bump that it gets, but I can honestly see this. If you don't pre-order it now, it's going to be hit by scalpers on a massive level in store. They're likely not going to release enough copies of this game to really make it available to the average consumer, and you're going to find yourself buying random ass copies on eBay. Like, there's copies on eBay right now that have sold for $100 pre-order. People are literally paying $100 for a game that you can openly pre-order right now.
People are dumb. Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb. Like, just pre-order. If you want it, pre-order the game and go from there. Like, I've got all of them. Honestly, it sucks because I hate doing this, but if I can sell it for $115 after March and keep my other copy because somebody else didn't do it.
Buy 2 copies.
Yeah, like, you might as well. And it's not necessarily scalping. I mean, I'm getting 2. It's not like I'm getting 10.
Yeah. There's a point where you're just being an ass, and then there's a point where you're like taking advantage of the system.
Yeah, I mean, that's the system. It's the same as anything else. Buy low, sell high. I mean, it's standard practice. And the fact that there's plenty of time between now and March 31st to get this game, but you got 2 weeks to pre-order it. Get your pre-orders in, and don't bitch about it after March 31st when you can't get your hands on it and people are selling it for $120, $130 on eBay. Like, you had your chance. And the fact that pre-orders are not sold out is a good indication that they will hopefully make enough copies to...
I'm just going to plan on going and getting it at a store. I think it'll be possible.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. It depends on, it really depends on how Nintendo does this and how they honor their pre-orders and how many they ship to stores and so on. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, super predatory practices. They've been doing it for years. They're going to continue to do it. We all fall for it. And unfortunately, it's just... Nintendo knows their market. I mean, I know it really well, and it sucks how they just go through with their business practices.
Are amiibos still a thing?
Yeah, in fact, they've got like 3 amiibos coming out with this. They have like a Cat Peach, a Cat Mario, and I want to say a Cat Toad is what I just saw in Best Buy.
Do they have a Mario Sunshine amiibo?
They don't, but I'm sure if they do, it'll be going for exorbitant prices when it gets released.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anything
do that.
on that.
You could just like give Mario a costume in another game with a flood pack and it doesn't change anything.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd do that just to have a little figure.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. The other thing I saw on Best Buy right now is Pikmin 3 has pre-orders as well for the Nintendo Switch. So that's yet another Nintendo game from the Wii U that's being ported over to the Switch. So
I never really got into the Pikmin series.
yeah. And also on our Facebook
Once again,
page,
Nintendo putting time limits, arbitrary time limits.
so dumb. So if you actually check out our Facebook page, we got some really good memes on this one too. So check it out. It's all about how Nintendo's just popping an old game with minor updates onto a Nintendo Switch.
At least the Bowser's Fury is going to be like a whole new like expansion for that game.
That's pretty cool too. And I love, dude, we had an episode a while back with like our top Mario games, and 3D World is definitely at one of like at the top of my list. Not the top, Odyssey is, but it's definitely up there. One other thing that I was going to note on this regarding Mario, and it is skipping my mind, dude. I think we just move on.
Moving on.
John's going to forget.
So this week in the Inflation Deflation Challenge, we have Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Developed by Ubisoft Montreal, published by Ubisoft, designer Patrice Desilets, maybe? He's French.
Yeah, looks like it.
Release October 2003. Game type, it's an action-adventure hack-and-slash puzzle platformer. That's a lot of words. And today we're only talking about the console versions. There are GBA versions, but we did not play those. And we are not talking about how much those cost.
Yeah, I don't even know what they cost, but to be all honest, they are not going to be at the same level, and we might want to in the future not talk GBA versions for some of these games.
They're actually, it's weird. It's actually worth more and rated less.
Well, of course, because a GBA version of a PS2 game or a GameCube game and whatnot, like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, so
Your first time playing?
Yeah, it was my first time playing, so I really enjoyed it. I think it definitely deserves a reception of the 9 out of 10s that it got. And, you know, a remake is something I would truly want to see on this. I think that this would be a great game series to reboot. I think there's, 2 or 3 in the whole series?
I think there's like 5.
5? Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, didn't know too much about it. I knew about Sands of Time, and I think it's like 2 Swords or something. I forget the name. But, yeah, I mean, it looked really good. And audio-wise, it was really good. The gameplay and how it worked was interesting. So when you progress in certain areas and you get to like a battle situation, it just kind of stops and you're like in that battle. It felt like an RPG in a sense. Like, all right, this is your battle. Like, you're here, you're going to be doing this, and then when you're done, you can progress as normal. It definitely had some great hints of like, you know, a wall blows out and it pans over to where the wall is and pans over to you, kind of like God of War. So you know where you're supposed to go. Like, all right, cool. Like, that's my objective. That's where I go. I do like the story building component as well that they had in there.
It tells a great story.
Yeah, so like you're actively playing and the main character is telling the story as you're playing. So with the dagger, for example, he's like, oh, and there I saw it. Like, I knew I had to get my hands on this dagger and quickly. And you're just like, it just really meshes well. So
games with great narration.
Yeah, I really liked that. So I would say in the little bit of time I played, for sure, man, that I could see where this got 9s out of 10s. And you know, why hasn't Ubisoft gotten back to this, right? You know, like, why haven't they dug back into their pocket of Prince of Persia and pulled it out? Maybe they've been waiting for technology to get back up there to get...
Yeah, I think 2013 was the last release of one of these games in the franchise, so it definitely has had that time to kind of sit in the background. And that movie...
Yeah, I remember the movie.
I never saw it.
I think I saw it.
But, you know, like, it definitely tried to get out there and be, like, this huge thing. But I feel like, you know, a 10-year span from 2003 when this came out to 2013 when the last one came out, like, that's a pretty good chunk of time. But it's definitely not, like, one of those dynasty titles that's going on, like, 20 years, 30 years, something like that, and keeps having releases. And that's important and good. And it really makes it look like when you reflect back on something like this, you really get to appreciate that. And especially with that era, I mean, this came out like right before I was going into high school. You know, I was like the perfect demographic for this. I had all the time in the world to play, and it was just like at the time so unique and different. Like, you know, you'd seen wall running and like other things, but it wasn't like... Parkour wasn't out yet, you know. I didn't really see this type of gameplay with like, you know, the hanging and climbing around. Like, there was no Uncharted, flipping between enemies like in Arkham Asylum and stuff like that really hadn't been seen, and that kind of was in here. Like, there were so many like quality parts of the actual like game mechanics and feel that like really worked for this game.
Yeah, I mean, and you bring up the whole thing of parkour and, you know, the inspiration it had for other games. And, you know, this, I don't know, man. I think like games like this and Assassin's Creed really kind of set up that parkour type of, you know, movement in a sense down the road. And it's really cool. I mean, to see how something like this has kind of breathed air into so many other franchises over the years, and the fact that it just hasn't gotten that recognition in a sense of being like that starting point for them. And I'm really happy that this is getting a or rumored to get a remake.
Yeah.
You know, based on that article that we read earlier. So yeah, I'm all for it. So brass tacks, man.
So this is a weird one. The most expensive version is the complete in-box PAL GameCube at $11.46. Cheapest version is the loose Platinum PAL PS2 for $1.04. Complete in-box for the US PS2 version, which is what we played, is $6.12. That peaked at $7.46 just last month in July 2020, and it's trending up. We'll see if this announcement of a potential remake has any kind of effect on that. But I mean, this is a super, you know, affordable game. Like, I can't believe this didn't make my list for the PS2. I guess I just kind of forgot about it. So I'm really glad this announcement came out and we were able to go back and play it today.
Yeah, dude, the PS2 has such an extensive library anyways that...
And they must have just printed a jillion copies of like, everything.
I mean, that's part of it too. So you got like tons of copies went out there, mass production, obviously super low complete in box price point for what really is a great game. But I mean... It's like that. I mean, look at Assassin's Creed games. Like, they're $4 and $5 for like some of the first ones. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just mass production, and you know, it's not rare, but it's a great game. And I am surprised it didn't make your list after playing this today and hearing your excitement over playing it. But I really do think that, you know, if we kind of get down to the nitty gritty here on inflated or deflated, you know, at $6.12 right now, for sure. Like, well, you gotta pick this up.
Yeah, and if you're more budget minded, the loose goes for $4.25. That peaked at $11.02 in December 2008. This is another one of those ones where like the price charting doesn't really have the numbers for the complete in box before a certain date. So that's kind of why that looks a little weird being more. And that's been holding. Like, that's been at that same price basically for years now. So don't expect to see much change there.
Yeah, and honestly, in all of my collecting over the years, I've come across so many copies of Prince of Persia in the wild. It's unbelievable. So like getting your hands on this game is not difficult at all. So I would say at $6.12, here's the thing. It's so easy to get your hands on this game that you could easily find it for $5. But I'm not going to say that it's, you know, inflated, because really at $6.12, I would say it's deflated. Like, this is easily like a $10 game all day long.
Quality wise, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
And that's the weird thing with this sometimes. It's like, what is the economic reasonable price to pay, and then what's the actual value reason to play? Because those are so wildly diverse in collecting. There's so many games that are so expensive that aren't worth the plastic they're printed on for how much fun they actually are. You could make a Frisbee and have a better time than with some of these games that are super pricey.
Yeah, Mrs. Spider's Tea Party on the PS1.
That was an expensive game.
No, I'm just saying, you could have more fun with a Frisbee than you could with playing that.
True.
It could become a Frisbee. So, yeah, I would honestly say, yeah, $6.12, definitely, you know, you could get it less, I'm sure, but the value-wise, it's there. I mean, if this game hit $10 a year from now, I would not be one to complain, because I think it would be priced well at $10. So yeah, definitely pick this up. I'm going to say that this price point right now is deflated. Like, it's for sure worth more than $6.12.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to agree.
All right, cool. So, God, man, one of the rare occurrences where a game is like, you know, you just kind of get to that mindset of like, this is truly worth more. Mm-hmm. So next week, I'm sure it'll be inflated. We'll see. Dino Crisis. We'll play that, as we mentioned earlier. So, yeah, this episode will be coming out this coming Monday. We'll play some Dino Crisis next week, so excited for that. And, of course, keep up with us on our social media handles. at the Game Deflators on Instagram and Facebook, and at Game Deflators on Twitter. And of course, find us on all of those wonderful podcast applications, Podbean, Podcast Addict, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, etc.
Visit us at thegame.deflators.com.
Yeah, check out our website. We've got a nice podcast archive on there. And of course, some of the previous reviews we've done, which we really need to update.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I was just thinking about that earlier.
Yeah, for sure. All right, folks. Well, this has been episode 96 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.